Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Hades 2, and last time we had another successful run going down, and that means we are getting ever closer to the new true ending. And this run, we have the bonus bones would be the skull, so we'll probably look to take that here. Aspect of Medea is the one we used most recently, but as for... it feels like outside of that, well, there's the aspect of hell, which I'm a big fan of, so if it's up to me, I will almost always go for that. It might be one of my favorite aspects overall across all weapon categories. But then aspect of Melinoi, aspect of Persephone, those kind of intrigue me a bit, because it's been a long time since we last took either of those, especially the aspect of Persephone. I barely even remember that one. We had maybe one run, two at most runs with this, one of which might have been a Chaos Trial, and it gives bonus level to boons, and I don't remember exactly how that works, but if that's +6 across the board, especially when you combine that with the Jeweled Palm, that could be pretty crazy, and then it makes our charge special more powerful as well. So that's something that I'd kind of like to experiment with. See if we can just load up on crazy levels on our boons by combining that with the Jeweled Palm. So let's give that a go. And we should have Fate's Whim active here. So admittedly, I don't know exactly how the bonus levels from this weapon aspect works, but we can try it out, give it a look. Now, the other thing worth noting is that, for what it's worth, the original voiceover for this video did not record for some reason. Only the in-game audio did. So right now, this is me recording this in post, trying to remember what I was stopping to say at various points in time. Like this right now, I don't really remember. But we're going to go fearless on this occasion because we're mostly just trying to go down as quickly as possible, or really complete the new true ending as quickly as possible, so that way we can make sure we have enough time, because I do have potentially some time constraints coming up. And let's see what we end up with here in terms of the Hades upgrade. It's going to be the one that gives us a bunch of extra cast damage. I mean, that's really good, especially on the first floor at least, where that can potentially one-shot people. And then the hammer right off the bat, we probably would like to see special stuff, because that is what this aspect prioritizes, and we do have a few options here. Not entirely sure which one of them we would prefer, and the shells, I don't think that really makes much sense for the special, because the special doesn't use the shells. Extra damage, take less damage when using the special. I mean, the charge special does mean we're in that animation for a while, so that does make some sense. At least initially, though, it may make more sense to lean on the cast, since with that Hades upgrade, that is very strong. The other thing worth noting is that I don't think there's much for us to do here for prophecy completion purposes on this run, outside of if we can progress the subplot line, the side quest of sorts with Arachne. We had a little bit of a breakthrough on that last time round, so if we do see Arachne, we'd probably like to seek her out. Just break out a little bit of the charge special there, and then whiff on most of it. Oh, and it's, yeah. Nectar, not great when we don't yet have any boons to upgrade with it, but we can get a boon from Poseidon here, and of course we'd probably like to see a special boon, given how, at least with this weapon aspect, that is the main thing that we're trying to build around, theory at least. Probably didn't even see that last enemy there.
Rest now, all of you.
Okay. I'm not sure why I'm stopping here to look at, well, probably to talk about the special.
I won't sink to calling him my father. We had it out with him before, a while back. Thought we had settled it for good. But we were young and foolish then.
Okay. So, yeah, some of these boons are getting a bunch of extra levels. That says +6. I still don't really get how it determines which ones get those levels, because Breaker Rush here did not get as many levels as the other boons did. So it seems like Breaker Rush got the Jeweled Palm bonus, but not the bonus from the weapon aspect. So I don't know what to make of that. The special boon here would be great, if not for it being just common rarity. Now, if we could use the Narcissus Keepsake later on to rarify it, then we'd get the best of both worlds, level
The ocean's
and
fury.
rarity. So that is intriguing. And then more Poseidon here. These guys are armored. Break that out. Okay, that does still hit pretty hard, even if it's only common rarity. I mean, what, level 8 is what it was? Yeah. And that's probably more than well over the amount of damage you would get from it being even heroic rarity.
On my authority.
So it does help make up for that. And then here, again, if we're looking at levels, it's the cast. That's level 10. So that's, again, seemingly getting the bonus from the aspect of Persephone, but for whatever reason, it seems like the other stuff is not. I mean, I am a fan of the Poseidon Dash boon, but if we're prioritizing level above all else, then it's also the highest rarity for the cast there. And then we can get, another level of, or another tier of rarity plus 2 levels if we go with that. And I do like the special boon, as I am generally a fan of Poseidon's special. And if we can use Narcissus on that, then we can get the rarity we're looking for. So I probably prefer for the sacrifice to land on the cast. And if it does land on the special, then it's no longer Narcissisable, so we might even skip it in that situation. So we'll see. I think it is still worth it. And those are the only 2 things that it could potentially land on. And then the discount on future shops, I mean, hard to know how useful that's going to be, and it's kind of pricey. Okay, but let's embrace the levels on our boons. Yes, they do have diminishing returns at this point. We're well past the point of diminishing returns, in fact. I think that there's a cap on the extent to which the returns diminish, and we are already there at this point. So that's actually a good thing, I suppose. It means that it's not going to get any worse with subsequent levels. So if we get you, I mean, we only have 2 boons, so we have the choice of picking whichever one we want. The special is probably more important with our aspect, so from that standpoint, that'd be a bigger deal, but the cast is already a higher level, so if we're just trying to meme it up and go with the highest possible level boon we can get, then obviously this would be the way to do it. So a little tough to say. And then again, also the cast has the extra damage from that Hades boon, which is also nice, although that's not tied to this boon here in any way. It's just collectively all working toward the cast damage. But
Yes. Be not
let's see, we have this shade to get here, and this is a slow one with only 4 options, so it takes a long time for each individual command, but there we go. It gives us a free air boon. And now mini-boss for Hera, we do not yet have. Which mini-boss is it? Oh, it's this guy, who's kind of a pain sometimes. Although that's a sizable chunk of damage that we're just able to deal to him. These guys will rush us down. But we have enough time to pull off the charge special. Well, we got rid of all the little guys, and then the cast finished off the mini-boss. So that works, and then we should see extra rarity and also...
Poseidon went out of his way for you earlier, I would have got here even sooner. The sea is unreliable, whilst my bond is forever. Figuratively, at least.
Oh, harsh words from Hera. But yeah, should be higher rarity because it's a mini-boss encounter, and then the sacrifice landed on the cast. Okay, that is what we were looking for. So crazy levels and rarity on this, which is quite tempting. Yeah, I mean, we have to do that, right? Then next room. Okay, this is not particularly interesting, but we'll go for it. And stop to talk about something. I'm not sure what I was originally trying to say here. But apparently I was deep in thought. Okay, here we go. Now let's see. That's pretty nice when you can clear out almost the entire room from just one charge special. Oh, maybe what I was talking about in the original recording that didn't actually record was that a level 12 Hera boon, if we can get the Hera plus Zeus duo, sacrificing Zeus boons to get additional levels on Hera boons, then we could get that really high up, because it is still early stages. There is this trove that gives us extra gold. Let's go for it, especially with this charge special. It seems like we might be able to clear these guys out quite quickly. It's maybe not the best place to initiate it from, as we were right in the middle, so we only hit some of the enemies, and then we ran out of magic. Uh-oh. Can't do our thing anymore. A charge special, but the cast is already strong enough that that is also more than capable of doing the heavy lifting, and then we get an extra level. I missed which one that landed on. I mean, either way, of course, both of them are good. And we have enough money now, especially after that trove, to go to the shop here. This is not the penultimate room, so this is an optional mid-floor shop.
Lord Charon's set up shop. All yours, Gully.
Nab this, and then it's Zeus. Oh, it could happen. It could happen, so you know we have to take that. I guess it technically doesn't matter which order we do these in, because there are only 2 boons. We're going to have the option to go through whichever one we'd like. And for the memes, we'll upgrade the higher level one. And then here, that rush boon is crazy high level. It's 10 right off the bat. It is common rarity, which is unfortunate, because if we are trying to Narcissus, that means it's competing with Wave Flourish. We no longer know which one Narcissus would land on in that case, but it is tempting nonetheless, because I mean, that's just such a high level boon. I feel like we might just need to go that route and take a chance on whichever one well, just rely on one of them getting upgraded and just accept the fact that the other one is not going to get upgraded. The other options, I mean, they're also pretty high level, yes, but not a huge fan of either of them. The Ionic Gain, that's one of my least favorite magic restoration boons, so that's the only way we could have avoided having the Narcissus keepsake potentially get ruined. And as much as I'd like to get even more boons for even more high-level stuff, I think we have to go with Arachne here, given how we did make some progress with her last time round, and that is one of the few sub-plot lines that we can make progress on while we are still awaiting the new true ending.
Nicely done.
So, should try to do whatever we can to make that work here. Enemy spawns in, and theoretically gets us a little bit of gold.
Regarding your curse, Arachne, Headmistress discovered who created it. So if you require closure on this aspect of your life, come visit at the crossroads. But such knowledge may be a curse all its own, so choose carefully, please.
Okay, so this is big.
Oh, why... I suppose that I'll be giving that some thought. What would I even do different knowing something like that? Give me some time, all right, my friend?
Okay. Our options here are... Well, we don't need the healing because we're already at max life. We could go Gilded Dress for more money, but that's the minimum armor, so it's risky. And I don't know that we necessarily need that all that much. We actually do benefit a lot from the magic restoration. We saw in one of those previous rooms we did run out of magic, so that's useful. Offensively and defensively, it obviously has more armor. We could upgrade the levels of our boons more with the palm, but we also did, well, I mean, we did spend some gold. I know I said we don't need it that badly, but we did spend somewhat aggressively on that mid-floor shop, and we are still expecting to see one later on. That's a Chaos room, and it's still the first floor, so obviously it's good from that standpoint. It's a little later than we would like to see it, if we're being especially picky, but probably still would like to go through it. These guys are kind of nasty. Ones that chase us down and have armor. Makes it harder to have the time to do the charge cast, and even then it might not be enough. Okay, so here with the upgrade, I mean, we have to, right? Surely we have to upgrade the level of the cast. Even if the special is, yes, theoretically more important. For the memes. Okay. And then the other rooms, they'd just be basic crafting resources, so nothing big lost by going into the Chaos room. And we're on, location 10 means this is gonna absolutely be active for the Hecate fight, but that's alright. We'll just have to be a little mindful of that.
Just me.
And then crafting resource there, and then fishing spot as well. It's taking a long time. There it is.
Freshly caught.
Okay. Have the fish now for Chaos.
Time, of course, did not always exist. Kunas provided a means of measuring the rate at which everything grew and changed or did not. He was quite useful by his very nature. But time can be a source of problems too, I know.
Now this is really interesting, because we were talking a while back about how that was a concept, a concern that other people had raised that we probably should have given more thought. Malinoi, Hecate, what happens when you, if you do in fact, permanently destroy time? It's such a fundamental component of the universe. Does everything just fall apart? Well, Chaos, of course, did technically predate time and gives us a little bit of insight there, so that's something that I would like to see more of. I mean, Chaos, of course, has a unique perspective on that topic, but maybe other people can speak to it a little bit more as well. Okay, now we have not yet taken Slothful Intent, or at least the downside, I think, to this curse, the one that gives us reduced movement speed, which is not great, but if we feel like, well, with this being a zero fear run, we can afford to take a few more risks to do some things that are suboptimal just for the sake of prophecy completion, then that would be kind of nice. This Caustic Will to give us magic restoration, that would be, from a gameplay standpoint, probably the most helpful, because, as we were saying, we are using magic somewhat aggressively, and we have the armor that, at least temporarily, makes us restore magic, but that could go away. And the other one that it did end up taking, as you can see, similar in that it does help us sustain our magic more by reducing our magic cost, but that is painfully slow. I did not realize that it was our base movement speed, not just the sprint itself. So this is gonna be a problem, and it's the mini boss, or rather, it's this is the room just before the full-blown boss. So here in the shop, we'll take, I mean, it has to be another upgrade on the cast, right? And then more boons so we can get more levels on our stuff, and more stuff that would potentially benefit from a duo between Hera and Zeus. And speaking of which, there it is. That is what we're looking for. However, it's a little bit early. How many Zeus boons do we have? I think we only have one, which kind of stinks. So that means we're only gaining 4 levels. Now, ideally, we'd have a bunch of Zeus boons, then get Queen's Ransom, get crazy high level on our Hera boons, and then use Echo has an option to double the level of your highest level boon. But if we are to make that happen, then we might want to wait until we have more Zeus boons and then use Queen's Ransom to get much more value out of it. Of course, that's a risk because Queen's Ransom as a duo boon is fairly rare. We don't know that it's going to show up again, but it's just not a great time for it. And Bridal Glow, if it lands on one of those common, well, yeah, it has to land on one of those common rarity boons, right? Because the other one is heroic already. So that means then Narcissus, his keepsake, becomes a sure thing to, well, one way or another, it means we're going to get both of our common rarity boons up to heroic rarity, which is pretty nice, especially since the special is something we are really keen on upgrading. It does land on the sprint boon, but okay. I mean, it just means we'll want to upgrade the special boon with Narcissus keepsake in between our next floor. The other thing is that, unfortunately, when you do the duo boons with Hera and Zeus, it does not factor in the rarity or the level of those boons. That doesn't give you extra value. It's exclusively based on the quantity of boons you have, so if we do end up sacrificing that Zeus dash, then it's kind of, unfortunately, a lot of value that we are ultimately flushing down the drain.
You wear one of those silken dresses, always with a vivid hue. I know whose handiwork they are. This one quite suits you, though it is unlikely to withstand the heat.
Yeah, I don't think this is our first time having an Arachne dress in the... Well, we know it's definitely not the first time. Maybe the second time, but I doubt it. It's a little strange that Hecate is talking about it here, but I guess it's still a little out of the ordinary and might have just been in the queue for a while. But the plan here is, well, as you can see, moving and even dashing is going to be a problem. The special, the charge special, if we do channel it all the way, does give us some mobility in a way, but we're kind of just hoping that we have enough burst damage that this fight is going to be quick, so we don't have to do much dodging. Oh, but this is not what we wanted to see. Oh boy. Kind of hard to avoid this stuff. We would like to get rid of these little witch enemies as quickly as possible, so we can end that phase as quickly as possible. Now, which Hecate is the real Hecate? I think that top one might have been there. Wasn't that one that I just... Oh, no, it's this one. Okay. And the cast does do good damage as well, so that's another solid ranged option for us. Oh, and if we charge the special long enough, and if we are close enough to her when we initiate it, And we can kind of loop around a few times, hit her multiple times, because otherwise if you just go in a straight line as I did there, pretty much only hitting her once, which is not great to maximize the damage. And this is not going to be great here, unless, I don't know, are we slower still as a pig with the Chaos Curse? Or does it only affect us when we're in our human/goddess form? I honestly can't tell. But we're back now. And yes, I would very much like to get rid of these as quickly as possible. And our dash alone has enough damage to one-shot them. That's pretty nice. But I guess that's what happens when you have a level 11 heroic rarity dash boon, even from Zeus, who I think typically has fairly low base damage on that boon. Then again, if it were his attack or his special, or even his cast, then that'd be very powerful. Oh, heck, he's charging up a big attack here. Those all bounce back. Wasn't in a great place to punish her for that, though. Here I'm going to try, see if I can curve around a bit and hit her multiple times with the multiple different projectiles that come out from our charge special. Might not need to here. Granted, of course, she runs away as soon as I do that. But there we go. Hecate down, even with the super slow movement speed. But, you know, maybe we were justified in not having taken that Chaos Curse before, because I think we needed it for prophecy completion purposes, and I think there's two separate prophecies for Chaos. One for all the positive things you can get, and one for all the negative things. I don't think we're done with either of them, but as we see here, maybe there was a very good reason for us avoiding that curse for a while, and I think we definitely want to go Narcissus this time, then we'll go Calling Card probably on the next floor, so we can get the rarefication, because there are a few boons that we passed on in part because of their low rarity, and then later on we're going to want to avoid these boons that guarantee a specific god or goddess showing up, because we learned that they actually do mess with the Jewel of the Palm and Calling Card even after the fact. We've gotten the wrong perception. It seemed as though, initially, that those still remained in effect even afterward, but that is not the case. You do need to keep the Fate's Whip. And there is now every boon getting rarefied up to heroic rarity. That's fantastic. Would kind of like the extra speed from Ignited Ichor to counteract the downside of the Chaos boon, but how much would it even do that? Chaos boon is still significantly more of a penalty than what we would get from Ignited Ichor, what we would make up for from Ignited Ichor. So it's, you know, maybe we just battle through it. And I actually don't know if we lose the rarity and level from the boon that got rarefied from Bridal Glow if we sell it here. But I guess one way or another, if we do go the other route, and we end up sacrificing our Hera boons to upgrade our Zeus boons with the duo, then Bridal Glow is a nice sacrificial lamb for that, so probably should keep that. The other ones are also just crazy valuable at this point, given the level and rarity of them.
Closer to Tartarus.
Let's head on out to the next floor, and wow, even that animation is slowed, and it looks maybe even more ridiculous. Okay. So, I'm hoping that we can get a few quick and easy rooms so we can get this Chaos Curse behind us, because it is a painful one. I'm actually surprised those enemies were able to tank that much damage from us. Yeah, if we can hit multiple times with the special... Ooh, I didn't realize I was in range of that attack, but it is possible to hit multiple times with the charge special. And not like that it isn't, but that is maybe the key. I also whiffed with that cast. Okay. One more room down, and then these rooms not particularly inspiring. Might just take the bones for the sake of having more bones once we get back to the crossroads. When these guys with the armor, and they also rush you down quite aggressively, that's not great, given where we find ourselves with this Chaos Curse. Hopefully there are not any... Oh, there are additional enemies beyond them. Uh-oh. Yeah, not surprised we have to use a block here. Cast slowing them down, though, does help a lot. Survived with the tiniest sliver of life. There we go. Okay. There we are. Okay.
Always use more.
Grab some of this. And then we are spending magic quite aggressively, which means Stellini could make a lot of sense. However, Hermes boons early are also very useful, except I think all of his boons cannot be leveled up, which means they aren't benefiting from the combination of Jeweled Palm plus our weapon aspect, but I still feel like early Hermes might be worthwhile even without those extra levels. I think I'm leaning that way. Okay. Oh, a little bit of extra gold. These guys, at least it's a bigger arena and they started farther away, so not as difficult to avoid them that time. These guys hiding in the corner. Dash boom. Doing us some good damage to finish those enemies off. Oh, the little fishies with armor, no less. They are definitely not what we want to see here. Fortunately, they are gone now, and so is the Chaos Curse, at least. And now we get more magic restoration, which alongside the... or reduced magic costs, which alongside the magic restoration from the dress, means magic shouldn't really be a concern from here on out. The dress is still on, so that's good.
Coincidentally was passing through with choice of blessings here.
And then here... oh, I do like an early quick buck. That is very useful. Being faster is also useful, but I think it's just hard to turn this down. The timing is pretty good. And we could upgrade the level of our boons even further, which is tempting for meme reasons. However, getting a mini-boss with Poseidon, that is also tempting, because that's just another boon to get a whole bunch of levels. And we seem to be getting a whole bunch of levels basically by default. And usually I'd say this is the hardest mini-boss enemy on this floor, but I feel like our build is good for this encounter, as that first charge special may have just demonstrated. We can get rid of a ton of the little guys very quickly with it. That guy's chasing us down. Maybe we can get him as well. Try to hit him with multiple rounds of the special. Okay, should finish these guys off, though. Right, excuse me, sir. Thank you. Okay, try not to get hit by that projectile. Oh, and froze him in place with the cast, which is actually really useful. And get you there, and when you're in the corner like that, I think we might even be able to hit you with multiple specials more easily.
In the name of Hades.
At least multiple waves from the special. Okay, then here, let's see. C-Star is pretty great early on, especially when combined with the quick buck. So when we get gold, we can potentially get more from... we will get more from that Hermes boon, and potentially even more from C-Star as well. Hydraulic Might is kind of tempting, because that's a ton of damage in the first few seconds of the encounter, which, when combined with our already quite powerful charge special, that could be enough to immediately, or almost immediately, delete all the enemies in a room. So it's a little tough, but at the same time, C-Star, it also has the most levels of all these options. So I feel like I might go toward that. I mean, Hydraulic Might, if we see it later on, but higher rarity, or maybe later on when we have the keepsake that allows us to rarefy it, that might be something we'd like to make a point of doing. And then the magic, don't think we want that. We should have plenty of magic restoration, and then the shop here... it is an optional mid-floor shop, so by spending here, that means we're going to have even more money if we want to spend in the penultimate room shop. But we don't yet have Hephaestus. He does, of course, have the potential to give us armor, which does work well with the dress if we're trying to keep that on. It's probably the only thing we want to buy here, though. And some very high rarity options, and then gaining life based on magic. This one does give us armor, though, and it does give us extra damage based on our armor. We already have some, of course, from that dress, so pretty good combination. I think we might go... usually I kind of shut these down. In general, the armor-based boons. But given that we have the dress, I feel like it probably does make sense. And I'm not a big fan of tough gain for magic restoration. Okay. So I think we're passing on the other purchasing options, and then here, again, I think probably just bones once we get back to the crossroads. Oh no, not these guys. Okay, at least we now have more movement speed. It's harder for them to trap us. And if we can trap them with the cast, then we can set them up for very effective specials. There's more of them that spawn in though, right? Yep. Please don't corner me. Go. Get some bones. Oh. Yes, we can upgrade the level of the boons even more, but then again, we really want Zeus. So we have more stuff to sacrifice to level up Hera, if in fact we do get that duo boon. Now, of course, that's speculative. We don't know that that's going to end up happening, but we have to at least try, right? And it could end up going the other way. We could end up sacrificing Hera boons to upgrade our Zeus boon levels, in which case we'd like to have more Zeus boons. So one way or another, I think it probably does still make sense for us to go this route. Even if it's technically less of a sure thing. There's a lot of projectiles these guys are making. There we go. Okay, what do we get from Zeus?
Olympus, I accept this message.
And we don't yet have an attack boon, so Heaven Strike is a little bit tempting for that reason. We can no longer rarefy with the Narcissus Keepsake because we already have that, so that's not really a factor. We might want to wait until we see a higher rarity one, a higher rarity attack boon, or until we have that Keepsake that allows us to rarefy on the spot. Otherwise, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of either of these alternatives. They are higher rarity, they're lower level though. But if they are ultimately just going to be things that we sacrifice, then it's not really a huge deal. So there are any of a number of options you could take there, depending on what you're optimizing for, but I guess we'll just go highest rarity, and again, kind of ideally hoping that that's going to be a boon that we sacrifice later on, because it's not great for us. And this shop, we've just over 150 gold, which means we could buy a boon, but we cannot afford a boon plus anything else. The alternatives aren't great, though, so I think we'll probably still go this route. Okay, and we can get this Poseidon boon, and I don't think we would have wanted any of the other stuff anyway. And then here... Oh, buried treasure with all of the other ways we can benefit from picking up gold, like Sea Star, and also the Hermes boon as well. We've seen that combination before. Yeah, Quick Buck gives us extra value as well, and it gives us gold right now. High Surf is pretty tempting from a more purely offensive gameplay standpoint, but I mean, have to take this. That's just so much gold, especially when Sea Star procs. It's even a golden urn there while we're at it. So at first it looked like we were only going to be able to buy one thing. Oh, hold on. More gold hiding here. Almost missed that. But yeah, at first it looked like we were going to have to use basically all of our money to get the boons. Although now we could buy more things here. Don't think we want either of those, though. Okay, so fight against Scylla. Well, we have some very high rarity and very high level boons, so we can certainly lean on those. That'll probably be the plan. I mean, simple enough, I suppose. So let's jump in. Yeah, there they are. Those three will be the key.
I like your outfit.
Oh, thank you, Scylla.
Ooh, you know we're on a hot streak when our fans keep coming back.
All right, because we fought Scylla several times in a row now. It's been a long time since we've gone up to the surface. So I assume that's why she's saying that. Okay, but here we go. Charge special. Ideally, have them all lined up in a way where we can hit all of them from a single charge special, but those casts are not bad either. Still like to prioritize the drummer to the extent possible. Ooh, I had to use a few resistances there. Drummer's still going. Really like to get rid of her soon. There we are. Okay. Don't worry about that anymore. Is it just me, or did that note from Scylla seem faster than usual? Excuse me. Even our dash is doing half decent damage, so that does add up. Now just Scylla. Throw in some attacks. Okay, now who's the featured artist? You are the featured artist. Still gonna focus on the drummer. It would, however, be nice if you were to let us focus more on the drummer to stop her from doing things like this. And this. She's still up. Has to be close to going down, though. Oh, get out of here. Oh, leave me alone. Okay, somebody's down. It was the drummer. Oh, that's everyone except for Skilla. Okay, so it's the final phase already. Just a little more time. Maybe the dash alone. There we go. Yeah. It's a little tricky when you have all those fish rushing you down to charge up a charge special, but mission accomplished. Skilla down. Grab these. Don't think there was anything else for us to pick up here. So let's head on out. And at this rate, we've already done the Narcissus Keepsake. Oh, nab this.
Good job.
We don't need to be concerned about getting that before we go to the fountain. But what comes next? Probably the calling card. Probably would have benefited from that on this floor as well, because there were a few things we would have liked to have rarefied, but that's okay. We can take it here, and it's a little tricky with the Zeus and Hera stuff, because if we sacrifice those boons, then they obviously are not going to benefit us, as we were saying before. We don't get any more value from sacrificing higher rarity stuff. But we should be able to spend a whole lot, because we have a ton of gold earning potential. The charge move damage, that's pretty tempting, because the charge special is the main thing that we're using here. So I would like to nab that, and then quick buck C star. I mean, you could sell them, although I think they're definitely going to be worth a whole lot more if we hold on to them. Maybe at the very end of the run, but for now, we definitely want to keep them. Okay, so ideally, we would find Zeus and or Hera boons. None here. But then, if we get that early enough that to get another round of the duo to sacrifice one type of boon. Oh, hello. Maybe you can see that guy first, and there's another one as well. But yeah, if we can get a whole bunch more of those boons, and then get the duo on this floor, early-ish on this floor, no less, to do the sacrifice, get a whole bunch of levels, and then find Echo, who potentially could give us the option to double the level of our highest level boon. That is the way that we maximize the level. But here's the bow, and with it, probably pick up the little stuff first. Okay, no C-Star proccing that time around, but not a huge deal. That's not a particularly meaningful upgrade there. These guys. Okay, that one does proc. Already the bonus gold starting to add up a bit. Got to nab that. We can wait for that though. Sidestep you. Okay, we'll go here for the hammer because I think we have found that Echo does not show up quite this early. Oh, hello. On this floor. It'd be the next room where we'd have to think about what our last upgrade was, and that would potentially be something that Echo could duplicate. Okay, so down you go.
Where was I?
Hammer, we'd like to see special stuff, ideally. That's attack, and that's attack. Yeah, all this stuff is exclusively for attacks, which is unfortunate, because that's not really what we were trying to build around here, and I don't really know which one of these would be most useful when we don't even have an attack boon. So, take your pick.
One more.
Okay, so now the gold, which of course we can potentially get a whole bunch of extra value from, and yep, saw an extra little visual effect there. So Nemesis is spawning in.
As I'm about to do all the work.
Just everything slows down for a second as Nemesis drops in, and I think we should be able to clobber her here. Okay, oh, I walked into the thorns. The darkness does make it a little tricky, but oh, she got one. Oh, wish we didn't have to use a block there, although I'm pretty sure it did lead to us getting an extra kill. So, yeah, no, we beat her 8-1. We are definitely the winner, and we actually do get bonus gold from that from our boons, so we are benefiting even more. Okay, now we get this. And then this is the room where our upgrade could potentially get duplicated by Echo. So it's either Selene plus gold. We passed on Selene earlier, and yes, it could be useful. The gold obviously could be useful as well, but we need Zeus boons for sure, because that's something we are trying to build up. And let's see, this is the vampire dude. I'm gonna get rid of his little friends first, and the charge special might be able to delete all of them immediately, or almost walk straight into that. He can leech, of course. We do need to be careful about using skills that force us to be right next to him. Sidestep. Vacuum cleaner, magnet effect. The cast is really nice because that's range, solid burst of damage, and obviously we don't have to put ourselves at risk of getting hit and getting our life leeched. Let's squeeze in a few riskier moves after he's done with his attack animations. That was not quite enough. Maybe a dash? No, the cast doesn't. Okay.
Drink that up.
Let's see what we can get here.
My command of the heavens is nothing compared to the strength of our family bond. The Queen and I have
Oh, it's the duo.
through worse times
Okay,
than this.
that is what we're looking for, except when it comes from Zeus,
Why, we've stood together now through more hard times than I can count. I dare say we're well past due for a break. Perhaps after our present difficulties finally subside.
when it's coming from a Zeus boon, does that mean it upgrades the Zeus boons, not the Hera boons? Yeah, sacrifice Hera to upgrade Zeus. We have, what, one... I think we have more than one Hera boon. We have more Hera boons than we have Zeus boons. So we're getting more levels out of this, except it means that we're upgrading the special... Or not the special. We're upgrading the dash boon, which is kind of hard to get excited about. I think that's a lot less meaningful, and it's not as high level right now, so this isn't really what we wanted to see. Oh, and the revenge boon. Not that that's something that we're all that concerned about upgrading either. So what we really want is to see the duo boon again, but Queen's ransom, not King's ransom. Sacrifice the Zeus boons to upgrade this Hera boon, because that's going to be much more impactful, and it also is better for memes because we get a higher level boon at the end of the day. So I think for now that means we're just going to take a normal non-duo boon here, and it may end up being sacrificed one way or another, so it may not matter all that much. We could take the attack boon, because we still do not have an attack boon, but we might prefer to take something on the attack slot that we are not ultimately intending to get rid of. So for that reason, I might go with the magic restoration, even if I'm not a fan of it. So it's a rare situation in which deliberately I'm actually going to take the weakest of those boons. And then I think we have to go Echo, right? I mean, ideally, we would love for Echo to have shown up a little bit later so that we could have more time to get the duo to increase the level of Hera, not Zeus. Because then it would have gotten to, what, like 30 or more? Ideally more, of course, after doing that duo boon.
Echo, let me know if I can help
That's,
you.
of course, assuming that we even get that option from Echo, and that's not guaranteed, so we'll see what she offers this time around. And I think in the past, we have gotten, what, like 41 or 42 as our highest level. That might have been on a Chaos trial. I don't know if that was on a quote-unquote normal run.
Help you.
So we might have been on pace for our highest ever level on a quote-unquote normal run, but we don't see the upgrade the highest level boon option anyway. We can get a copy of a Zeus boon, though, which is pretty tempting just to load up on more Zeus boons so we can sacrifice them to hopefully, eventually, upgrade the level of this Hera boon. So I'm leaning toward that. I am generally a fan of Evade, Evade, Evade in a vacuum. That is one of my favorite upgrades from Echo. I do think that's really strong, but given how this is a no-fear run, I think we can embrace the memeage a little bit more. And then here, again, we have the option of going with the attack boon if we really want to. We could rarify it as well, but I don't feel great about doing that when we are, again, potentially just going to turn right around and sacrifice that boon. So we might just take it on rare rarity and leave it there. Otherwise, we could take static shock. I mean, again, that's something, any of these, we may end up getting rid of eventually. Not sure why I was highlighting C-Star there, but okay. There we go, we did take the attack boon, and this was really well hidden over here. Camouflaged and in the corner, so if not for that little update, that little, notification, whatever you want to call it, I almost certainly would have missed it. bow right away, which is
Illuminate
convenient.
my path.
And now we no longer really care about the order, because we don't need to be concerned about what is the most recent pickup for Echo. Enemy is guarding this spot, though. Oh, that's a silly thing to have to use a block on. Whoops.
No, you don't.
Okay, get rid of you guys. Gold there. And we can either go Zeus or we can go gold. Probably would be better to go Zeus first, just because the gold doesn't give us any immediate value, although there are still a lot of these guys hanging around. And he ran away. Didn't get hit by the charge spell. What the heck, man? Cooperate. Oh my goodness. Yeah, look at how many there are here. I would like to get that life upgrade. And then that's great. If you can use the charge special right on the edge like that, just look at how many times it can hit the same enemy. The previous time, it worked really well. That time, not so much. That guy's still there. Was he there all along? I didn't even see him. Okay, get that duplicated for a little bit of extra life. I mean, it's just a small bonus, so it's not a huge deal for that one to be duplicated. Not a full-blown room reward. Oh, that actually gives 5 max life as well. So that actually gave just as much life as the previous mini life did, in addition to the ashes, so it's just objectively better. Okay, so now here's Zeus. 1000 Punch Man. These still more optional enemies that I fought so many of them, and yet missed some. It's kind of crazy how many there are. It's kind of crowded around here, which means we should be able to get good value from that charge special.
This is my
Now we'll get rid of you guys. Okay.
In the name of Hades.
Zeus. It's another round of the duo, but once again, it's sacrificing Hera to upgrade Zeus, and that's not what we're looking for. No, we need it the other way around. Okay, so in that case, if we're taking one of the other boons, what do we even want here? I mean, again, we're just trying to get fodder to sacrifice to set up Hera, but it just really wants to give us King's Ransom instead of Queen's Ransom at this rate. So, I mean, obviously, they're both level 4. Charge moves, bonus damage, oh, but only on the Omega, and we don't have, or rather, only on Blitz damage. We don't have Blitz damage on our special right now, so it doesn't really affect it, so I don't know that Arc Flash really benefits us all that much, so we'll take the other one instead. Even more of these guys. We even went to this spot already. Okay, so now for you. Any mini-boss here? Armored enemies, yes. Smoke cloud enemies, yes. So annoying ones, but at least not seemingly the big mini-boss one. It's hard to attack them here right now, though. Oh, and I got stuck on that little puddle there for a second. This puddle right here. Okay, but that's a ton of gold. Yeah, we're already over 1,200, and we're not even on the last floor yet. That's pretty nice. I swear, this is the most of the optional enemies we've ever seen in one of these rooms. Okay, and then here, I think this probably is the penultimate room, and we certainly have enough money to buy any and everything in this shop, so I think we have to go this route. Yeah, this is penultimate room.
Protect you, my
Okay, so then probably gonna buy everything here. We do benefit from all of it, even the armor. Palm Slice first, and we have so many boons. Oh, it landed on the magic restoration. Blah. Okay, yeah, low probability of it landing on something good given just how many boons we have. Then Hermes doesn't get the levels, but what can we get here? Tall Order, if we have 8 of a kind. We do at the moment from air. However, again, if we're going to sacrifice those Zeus boons, then we're going to lose those air boons the moment we do that. So not necessarily sure that's the right route to go. Travel Deal means we can potentially spend even more in shops with all of our gold earning potential. That is potentially very useful. I don't know if it is going to proc immediately, though, given how we have technically already bought something in this shop. I mean, obviously it'd be great if it did proc right now. And it is common rarity, so we could rarefy it. It's not something we're going to sacrifice, so it's more useful to rarefy for that reason. However, it just gives you a better discount for that first purchase. It doesn't affect the extra items showing up, and that's the main reason why Travel Deal is useful. So I think we're probably going to take it and then just not rarefy it. We'll save the rarifications for other things instead.
Time to send a message.
Okay. And then the armor obviously gives us more defenses, more armor, but it also gives us more damage from that Hephaestus boon that we picked up a little while back, so useful for that reason as well. Now, Cerberus, with, I mean, still really high level, really high rarity primary boons outside of the attack boon.
You'll soon feel better, Cerberus, I swear.
And you would think, since he's a big target who just kind of hangs out, for the most part, hangs out in one place, that we should be able to loop around him several times with the charge special. Just dodge this, and dodge that. Try not to get hit by the smoke clouds, because those are nasty. Oh, hold on. It's a lot of explosions going on here. A lot of smoke clouds as well. Excuse me, please don't do that. Really wants to do that. Side. Oh, he did technically get hit. Resisted. Oh, he's filling the entire screen. Yeah, that one can be tough to dodge. There are definitely times when we found ourselves in that situation where we just have no choice but to get hit. These guys, adds, phase. Try and get you. I think that was the last of them. Yeah. Cerberus is back. Sometimes if you take too long, then obviously Cerberus does come back even when the ads are still there, but that's not the case that time. Okay, lots of explosions. Now he's going to chase us down. Once you stop moving, it'll be easier to have enough time to use the charge special. Like right now, for example. And then you're going back to using this, and I don't really remember what order they all exploded in, but okay, that turned out to be a good spot for it. Oh goodness, yep. Bit of a bullet hell at the moment. Oh, couldn't time that dodge correctly. And then now he uses the flame breath. I was waiting for it earlier. I was ready for it then, and then of course the moment that I'm not ready for it is the moment that he does in fact use it, but that's okay. It did eat through some of our armor, but we'll be all right. Nope. And there we go. Okay. So Cerberus down. Did take a few hits there, but again, given that we have a fair bit of armor, should be fine.
Assumes again a shape so sinister as scarce can be described.
Okay. Nab our goodies. I don't think there is anything else in here. Oh, also, the camera is super zoomed out. I don't really remember being the case in the Cerberus fight before, but it makes it look like we are slower, which for a second made me think that we had the chaos movement speed curse once again. And I was like, no, please, anything but this.
Onward, Golly.
All right, so on to the last floor. I think at this point we've kind of done all the main keepsake-related things that we really wanted to do, and we can do this first. We've done Narcissus. So we really haven't used much of the calling card yet. We don't want to use any of these boons, or rather any of these keepsakes that summon particular gods or goddesses and break the Fate's Whim, because we learned that that does, in fact, remove any remaining charges you have on the calling card, and also the Jeweled Palm ruins that. So we could go back to the standard bossing keepsakes, but those are, you know, on a zero fear run. They're maxed out, so can we instead go with something a little more unusual that does still need some ranks or can benefit us in some more unusual ways? We do get more gold earning potential right now, so gold first is worth a little bit more. A little tempting for that reason, but obviously we do take that a whole lot. And so maybe something like the experimental hammer. We've been trying to rank it up a bit as of late, and one more floor with this. It's not quite enough to max it out, I don't think, but it should last for this entire floor, which is nice. And it gave us what? This. Specials launch you ahead faster and deal significantly more damage. Okay. I mean, special-related hammer upgrades, that's very nice. So, pretty lucky. on that front. And then we should be able to buy basically everything here. And then whatever we buy, we'll also get something else to show up in its place. Should buy the most expensive thing first, because we get it discounted. So Yarn of Ariadne for additional rarity with the next thing we get. And then, what's that, extra speed? And then... I mean, it's a little tempting to sell the Revenge boon or the Hephaestus boon we could sacrifice, but I think we'll still hold on to all of our stuff here. Yes, the extra rarity and levels we've gotten on many of the things means they're actually quite valuable, but we should be fine for gold, so don't think that's really needed.
That's something.
Okay, we can get this.
Ever-shifting chambers. Realign.
And start our way through.
He hides behind these wretches.
They're in there, but we'll pick that up later on. How quickly can we take these guys out? Charge special. Ooh, yeah, because if we don't, then it gets a little nasty with that attack. Not a fan of that one. That guy trapped in the corner. Or the money bags. Oh, and the rat men. Okay. Rat men. Don't you do it. There's still more? Wow. More rat men, unfortunately, and I believe he just made rats directly in front of us. That's bold. You know what that means. Because we have to take him out. Okay. So there we are. That room is done, and we can go Hades, which is definitely what we'll want to do next, and no other stuff to pick up here.
Greetings, Father.
Okay.
Please hang on, Father. I have to safeguard the details, but I'm getting closer to something. A way to stop Kronos. Forever.
So that's interesting, because we were talking about this a bit before, how, yes, obviously we want to have more conversations with characters about how we are going to defeat Kronos. However, it's kind of difficult to have critical conversations with people if those conversations are optional, or if those are characters who we only see occasionally. So, like, Zagreus, we always see at the end of runs, so it's very easy to make him the dedicated plot progression, exposition person. Hecate, to a slightly lesser extent, I mean, yes, when we're seeing her on the run itself, when she's the first boss fight, yes, but that kind of disrupts the flow of the game if that turns into a huge lecture. So that has to be brief, but can still be on that topic to a certain extent. And then Hecate in the Crossroads, technically optional, so can't have anything that is of absolute critical importance in those types of conversations. But then that leaves us with Hades, who's kind of similar in that he is someone who you would think would have very good advice and experience with defeating Kronos, but at the same time, we can't really, or the developers can't really put anything that you must hear in a conversation with Hades, otherwise that would run the risk of players missing that altogether, unless they did something creative with having maybe a conversation with Hecate where she says something like, oh, I have an idea for how we could potentially permanently defeat Kronos, but it's not quite there yet. I need a little more advice. Maybe Hades has an idea. You should go seek him out, and then next time you run into Hades, that's a way to both hint to the player, hey, you should seek him out, and also a way to sort of hint that, you know, there's going to be more coming from your next Hades conversation. Or you even make the crafting recipe tied to him.
Even when my brothers, foster sisters, and I vanquished him, we knew he would eventually be back. A deathless titan. But we thought it would be on our terms. We were such fools.
Whether he gives you a resource for that crafting recipe, or he's the one who actually gives you the recipe in the first place, something along those lines could make it so that it's a way to tie Hades into the progression toward defeating Kronos, while at the same time sort of working around how he is technically an optional encounter, and therefore something that you would have potentially missed. You know, if you're basically forcing the players to speak to Hades, then that's a way to make sure that they will see that conversation, although it could drag things on if for whatever reason the players just don't happen to see Hades show up on a run or several runs in a row. I guess I don't know how exactly the game determines which rooms can show up on a given run, Like, could it be that after having a conversation with Hecate like that, it makes it more likely or even guaranteed that Hades is going to show up on your next run, or if you don't see him there, on the next run after that, or if you voluntarily skip the Hades encounter for whatever reason, then he will continue to always show up. So those are ways you can potentially work Hades more into the plot progression, because otherwise, again, it would be kind of difficult to do that without risking that some players would see it and get this really interesting, really important information that makes the story make more sense, but then for whatever reason, the players who don't see that conversation suddenly feel really either left out or like they're missing really important stuff, and so it just doesn't make a lot of sense without that. So, difficult, and that's maybe why we haven't seen as many of those sorts of conversations with other types of characters, although they have been interesting in general. When people have talked about, hey, how are you going to defeat Kronos, you kind of need to be careful of going too far in that direction, otherwise you run those risks of missing, some players missing some of that stuff.
And you lacked the means to destroy him utterly.
It was for the best that we lacked such means. We would have used them and continued using them. I merely judged the dead, or used to. I was never fit to judge the living.
Okay. So then, as for what we take here, the healing, damage based on death defiances, we have all of them, but we haven't used any of them yet. So I think we will probably end up going with the damage at the start of the encounter. I think that probably makes the most sense. In addition to, of course, our pre-existing boon from Hades that we got from the Jeweled Palm. It is actually kind of interesting, though. We have armor right now, which means if we were to take the healing leeching one, that usually the reason why I don't take that is because you're going to use that leech in the middle of the floor when it's not super meaningful. But if we were to take damage now, we would lose armor rather than life, which means we could save the leeching, the healing component for the Kronos encounter when you would be more interested in having it.
Of the chamber all at once.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure we know what's going to happen here. Unfortunately, Cerberus still rejects us. So, it's a lot of special blasts we can get if we fully charge it up. That's pretty crazy. But we did get that hammer upgrade, right? That made our special stronger. That might have had something to do with it. Kind of forgot about that. This rat man. Must get rid of him. And potentially, deliberately use our special right up on one of the walls to maximize the amount of single target damage. I don't think there's anything else in here. More rat men. We must get rid of this guy before he makes more rats. Excuse me, sir. Please do not do that. Another rat man? Another rat man. With more friends. Oh, a second rat man as well. Nearly activated the trap on myself. There we go. Okay. Oh. Nab this while we're at it. And then we have you. Very tempting. I feel like we have a build that can take these enemies out quickly enough that we can get a bunch of gold from this. And I think we get the bonus gold, at least to a certain extent as well. So that is nice. We don't take these tros very often on the final floor, so opportunity to do a little more of that. It says 84, but let's see once we actually take it. Yeah, it's 109. It is more, because we do get the bonus gold still. That means we should be able to buy a whole bunch of stuff from the super shop. With travel deal, that of course gives us even more spending potential. But a whole lot of these rooms that just are for progression and no optional stuff with additional rewards in them. So usually what that tends to mean is that later on the floor, we're going to see a lot of those optional rooms in a row. Ooh, should not have gotten hit by that. Ratman. Just use the charge special and spin around in circles with it to maximize the amount of damage we do to these guys. More waves, though. Even more Ratmen as well. Money bag also has to go. Oh, I think somebody put me there.
One left.
And this guy, down he goes. And then finally, we have an optional room. But first, get a little bit of extra gold in the mini shop. We should probably be able to purchase everything here as well. And, I mean, we could take the price of Midas. I don't know if we get the bonus gold from this as well, or if this is technically kind of a different category. We have armor. So I don't know if it's gonna remove armor or remove life, and then we can just heal off the... If it is life, we can heal off that life when we walk into the next room, to a certain extent at least. Get the extra item, random item, and that gives us cast damage, okay, sure. And then Yarn of Ariadne is the other thing that shows up here from Travel Deal. And I mean, we might as well. It gives us even more rarity. So, sure. We'll take that. And then what I'm wondering, though, is what happens when you have multiple Yarn of Ariadnes at the same time? Do they stack on the same boon?
I have the gold.
Or do they separate into two separate bonuses?
Shiny.
Okay, they're being listed separately here. So that would suggest that they apply to two separate boons. Okay, so I think we're gonna go for the optional room here. Then we'll likely see a bunch of optional rooms in a row after this, hopefully, so we can still get a bunch of additional stuff and put this double Yarn of Ariadne to the test. Loading up on a crazy amount of these temporary bonuses here, which is kind of funny. But let's jump on into this mini-boss, and we'll hopefully see the Super Rat Man instead of the coin purse, because that guy's really annoying. And heads up that this is probably going to be the end of the new voiceover version, because for whatever reason, apparently, the original voiceover started working somewhere around here. Don't really know why, but okay, I guess I'll pass the torch to the original Lids, starting now. And now you're armless, which means we're gonna do this. And just believe. Oh, I walked straight into that. Like a buffoon.
We're settled.
Okay. So now this, which should... I think we're just gonna see everything be epic rarity. Maybe his legendary boon. I don't even remember what Poseidon's legendary boon is.
In the name of Hades.
What? How? How? Excuse me. Also, these do they only disappear after you select the boon? Because at the moment, they're both still there. Charge cast gains power and knocks foes away. That's a lot. Hit surrounding foe with powerful splash. Whenever we start a strike, we're probably going to go for this. Oh, we saw this before when we were saying we ought to rarify it. It just feels so strange that we would see a rare rarity boon, given all the various ways that we are boosting the rarity here. But I think this is a good one to rarify. I mean, not so much against Chronos. In any other normal room, it means we might be able to remove everything while this boost is still active, or at least most of the things while the boost is still active. But it's getting kind of late for that, so this probably is more meaningful against Chronos. I guess I will rarify it.
You got it.
Okay. Should see more optional rooms here, yes. We have the super gold. Definitely don't have enough fear for that. It's not really what I intended to do, to be honest with you. Excuse me. Ooh, whoops. Didn't see that till it was too late. Okay. 615 twice.
Free agent over there.
So definitely don't need to be too worried about money at this point. In fact, we can probably buy the most expensive item, the crafting resource from the super shop, get that to get something of that category, and I think it typically does end up being the same category to reappear, which will probably also be expensive, and still buy that and still buy everything else. might be a little close if we go that route, but we'll have to see. There might still be one more bonus room after this. Oftentimes there's a room that has the, what they call it, Hades. They changed the name of it. It had to be countered from Hades 1 to Hades 2, I think. But one that has 2 different boon-giving gods and goddesses in the same room. Can you make rats? Yeah. That was close. No! Stop that! Stop that, rat man. That's illegal. Where did this rat man come from? Okay. So yeah, we can go to the shop, or we can go Super Palm. I mean, obviously we're going Super Palm in this situation. Also, it means well, I mean, either way, we're healing up to max life, which is just from the damage we took from that shop item.
Stay where you are.
Get out of here. Oh, yep, we left a rat man over here. Unattended. You know what that means. Time to exterminate. Okay, let's try not to get frozen. Ooh, or hit by that projectile. Hey, buddy. Can I interest you in some charged special?
Shouldn't have crossed me.
Speaking of which, we'd love to see... I mean, either the special or ideally the cast, really. We have to. We have to.
Greater strength.
Oh, that's very nice. We can get the best of both worlds, or we can get C-Star. I mean, at this point, I think it's probably too late for this to make that much of a difference. That might have been quite literally the last chance for it to proc. So I think we take you instead. And now, okay, we have to go to the shop. So yes, that does very likely seem to be the case. There's a chance there'll be something here that he can proc on.
This is it.
Now that's what I wanted to see. Right, we might skip you because we do have a good hammer upgrade. And this sacrifices one random hammer that we have, and we have a few, and gives us 2 random ones in return. If it got rid of our attack hammer upgrade, that'd probably be fine. But we want to keep this, I think. Oh, wait, no, we have 2 special hammer upgrades, don't we? I think we have 3 total. I don't know. But let's see. Yes, we should be able to buy this, get a copy of whatever shows up here, still buy that, and still afford everything. I'm pretty sure, and we also don't need to get this. We can save a little bit there.
Moon dust.
And since we're skipping you, we have no problem doing this.
Accept this
Duo?
message.
No duo. Hold on. There's still time. There's still time. And we must rarefy now, of course, whatever we end up taking. Not going to sacrifice a Zeus Boon here. This is probably worth a fair bit, but this gets a whole bunch of levels, and this does not have any levels. So I feel like, and what do we have that uses Hitch? Cast does. Is that the only thing? That might be the only thing. Rarefy you twice and still get some pretty huge value from that. Or rarefy you once and gives us universe. I mean, this helps the special, whereas this does not. And the special is our primary source of damage, so maybe by that metric you would say go for this. Although having Hera boons that can be leveled up means if we do in fact get the duo boon on the next one, then this gets even stronger, whereas this doesn't. So I think for that reason I'm going to do this.
Now,
And then we cross our fingers. The last possible opportunity to get it.
hear me.
Will
on
it
my
show up?
authority.
Oh! Her legendary, her infusion, but not the duo. Her legendary gives us, 1 infusion boon for each. I did not remember that. I was going to say, the little element counters don't mean much for us right now when we have no opportunities to get infusions. Unless we take this, but that's... I don't know that we have very many common rarity boons. If we do, it might just be travel deal, which doesn't really matter at this point. But this at least can potentially still be useful for us. So we didn't get the big thing that we were hoping for. We saw a whole bunch of the Zeus one. We did see it at the very beginning, the Hera one, but we passed on it because it just wasn't quite as meaningful as we would hope it would have been. Okay, so what do we get on the infusions, though? We got air quality, so everything is doing a minimum of 50 damage. We certainly have enough air boons for that. Any air infusions would be ideal, but there's only one per element, right? We get extra attack and special damage based on our earth boons, only 2 of those, but it's something. It's 10% bonus damage. Attack and special flat damage based on our fire boons. We have 3 of those. And then this gives us max life based on our water boons. We had several of those. We actually did not have much max life until we picked this up. We had a fair bit of armor, which sort of made up for that, but we've lost some of that armor along the way, and so that's not bad. Getting this. And do we have a... Oops. Second page? We do not. Okay, so that's it. Unfortunately, we couldn't get this any higher. But oh well. Can't even buy this. Can't afford that anymore, but as I said, didn't really want it anyway. So I think we are now ready to go.
Sticks, take me.
And we still have... Oh, this would have been... I didn't even realize. This would have been dressed to kill. Yeah.
You spoke before about the consequences of the past, of your own mistakes. Yet this is how you choose to rectify them. Your entire family is against you.
It didn't require as much effort, and I honestly was not even taking notice of that until we walked right in. But that was in part because we took a dress that started with more armor, and also we took that boon from Hephaestus that gave us a sizable chunk of armor soon thereafter, and then we purchased at least 1 round of armor from one of the shops, so didn't require that much min-maxing, unlike the time when we did it for the prophecy. Is it just an achievement, or is it an achievement and a prophecy? The dress to kill, whether it's one or both of those things. We took the lowest possible armor dress, and so that one took a lot more planning and had to be a lot more careful for that. But as for the main plot line, that is of course the key here and now. I spoke before about the consequences of the past, your own mistakes, yet this is how you choose to rectify them. Your entire family is against you. Yeah, last time we heard a little bit more about Kronos' rationale for being an evil supervillain, and he basically said that being in a family is hard, and therefore I am mad at my family and am taking out my anger on them, and the only reason why you don't feel the same way is because you haven't had as much time with your family. Which is kinda shallow and unconvincing, but it's at least a reason to be mad at Kronos when we otherwise technically didn't have much beyond just him being branded as the official villain.
As ever.
And waging war, I guess. But why was he in the first place?
You would excise me from my own family? Then very well. But this is the result.
You don't even want to rule the underworld or the surface, do you? You just want to get back at your children. How petty and pathetic.
I don't think we've heard this before. I think this is new. And, okay, this is more of the type of rationale that I would have liked to have seen in their original true ending, and, well, it is good to see here. It's probably something that we would have assumed, that he doesn't actually care that much about ruling. He more so just cares about revenge, retribution, getting back at his children who had previously murdered him in a pretty gruesome way.
Each passing generation even quicker to judge than the last. Was I the perfect father? No. Otherwise my children would have been perfect as well. And now even you are caught in this spiral.
Okay. So it at least confirms what was theoretically, technically speaking, only...
Death is your only...
Oh, there we go. There's the first damage from the Hades upgrade. But yeah, it was something that, you know, you generally assume oftentimes in video games or in any form of media that the bad guy wants revenge because it's just a common cliche. So it's not like it's groundbreaking in any sort of way. But it is nice to at least technically have a reason confirmed for us to actually believe that he is a bad guy. Oh, that did technically hit me? I don't know. That was close. This is half health, I think. Hold on. Can I do this right here? Ah, darn it. I knew he was close to the wall. I was hoping that the angle was such that I could hit him multiple times with that, but it didn't quite work out. Woo! I was kind of zoning out for a second there. Is that quarter left? Might be. Oh, not a fan of the friends you brought to the party. Ooh, that was very long range. Wasn't that I wasn't paying attention to him, it's that I just couldn't see him from that range. Ooh, that was close. Oh. All right, buddy. I disagree. Oh. I don't think I was supposed to step on whatever it was that I just stepped on. No, what? I was dashing. I should have had iframes. I know I was traveling at 0 speed because I was in the slowdown mode, but I was doing the thing you were supposed to do in that situation. Thank you very much. Hold on. Oh, no. That was closer than I would have liked it to have been. Oh, right. These guys. Go away. Go away. Ooh, hold on. I feel like we didn't see him do that move in the previous run. Kind of forgot about it. Oh, bad timing again. Ooh, that was close. That was very close. Okay, dodge out of that. Oh. These are all the bad places to stand. He really loves this spot. What is this, 3 o'clock? No, 2 o'clock. Oh, I special do that. Silly. This is also not a move I want to be doing right now. Here we go. Might be enough. It is.
You truly think you gods are better fit to rule this world than I?
Right, because this is the other thing. I mean, there's sort of generic reasons that were probably the types of things that you were likely to assume as reasons why Kronos was fighting all the gods and goddesses and the bad guy was either this, that he thought he was a better ruler than the gods and goddesses, or the other one that he just didn't really care about that, but he wanted to get revenge against them and he thought that this was the best way to do it. Both of those are predictable, pretty shallow reasons, which are, you know, understandable for a supervillain, but the thing that usually makes supervillains really compelling is when they have a much more either unusual or at least deeper and more nuanced reason behind why they're doing what they're doing. And yes, he does have reason to want revenge because, yes, the gods and goddesses did fight him before and did kill him before in a very gruesome way, as we've talked about many times before, but even then, it's still, they didn't really do anything particularly interesting with that, it doesn't feel like.
We both know that is not what this is about, Titan. And all that plagues this world is not getting any better while we perpetuate it.
Yeah, so it seems like what they're saying is, what Malinui is saying here, and what Kronos kind of said at the beginning of this confrontation, was, it's not about me thinking I'm the better ruler, it's that I just want revenge. And so it's not that that's bad to have that be the villain's rationale, it's just uninspiring. So it's not bad, but it's also not great. It's just average.
This world, my girl. And what is this about? Do you suppose?
It's just kind of boring. Unless he gives us a new reason right now.
What is this about?
And
For my brother.
I'm gonna be honest, I think that's actually a quite bad piece of writing they just put in there. What is this about? If he had said that after one of our first runs against him, perfectly valid, very good thing to put there, because that's when we should be asking the question, the initial question, why are we fighting in the first place? However, we, at the start of this confrontation, were already seemingly starting to get some answers on that front, and then he just went and took 3 steps backward by going back to the initial question with that. Unless the next time we fight Kronos, he says, no, actually, it's not about me thinking I'm the better ruler, like I said last time, that was never the idea, but it's also not about me just wanting revenge. That's not it either. There's this other thing that it's actually about, and that's why, at the end of the previous run, I was saying, what is this about? Ooh, it's not what you think it is, because otherwise the sequencing is just all wrong there.
More gemstones.
And it's it's a just quick little line there, so, you know, not gonna ridicule them too hard for that, but there's a lot of things like that at this point that are adding up, that are either inconsistent, timing-wise, or just in general, regardless of when they get said, they don't make sense in context anymore. So, it's kind of a mess. It's kind of a mess. And again, with the new true ending that we've been building toward, obviously we haven't seen everything yet, but they have filled in some of the gaps, but there are still these inconsistencies that send us back and forth and leave us confused as the player and make it hard to walk away with a compelling, to understand a compelling narrative for the antagonist and the overall plot line for the game itself.
Okay. To the abyss of the subconscious, I descend.
Okay. So let's see if this is a new conversation with Zagreus, or if it's an existing conversation with Zagreus that either has been unchanged or
Night
tweaked.
and darkness, guide me to my blood beyond the grasp of time.
Of course, this is where we tend to have the most significant plot-related conversations. And I guess, along the lines of what we were saying before, one of the reasons why you can do that... Hold on, wait till Zagreus is done.
When I'm asleep, it's supposed to be calm and relaxed. And again, this is more like a nightmare, I suppose. Well, that makes much more sense. I'll just calmly wait here.
One of the reasons why Supergiant, the developers, can do that with Zagreus is because every time you complete a run in the Underworld, you will always encounter Zagreus. So they know that every player, unless they just skip through all the dialogue, but that's at that point on the player, of course, they know that every player will be guaranteed to see this conversation. Unlike, as we were talking about before, with Hades, the players probably should go into the Hades room because it's going to help you on your run. However, it is not necessarily guaranteed, and therefore, if you put any important plot-related things in that conversation, then only some of the players are going to see that, but not all. So that's why Zagreus is the main person who is progressing the plot, but that may overall be one of the reasons why that has been a challenge for Supergiant to work that stuff in, because having Zagreus do all of the heavy lifting on that is difficult. And without it just seeming like it's a huge lecture every time we talk with Zagreus, which you could argue it already is to a certain extent, because Hecate does at times go into that, but not to the same extent as the conversations with Zagreus. If the conversations with Hecate do give us some more insights for plot progression purposes, then they're usually smaller and the conversations themselves are shorter. And that is probably in large part because, again, any conversation with Hecate in the Crossroads is technically optional. The only place where the developers can be absolutely certain that the players are going to see that conversation with Hecate is when they encounter her in the early stages of the run. So in that way, it is similar to Zagreus. However, the tricky part there is that you definitely can't have a wall of text in that encounter with Hecate, because that's just before a boss fight in the middle of a run, and that would be really really disruptive to the tempo of the game, the pacing. Whereas at least here, it's more understanding that the pacing slows way down when the run is technically already over. So, challenges, I know I've been saying a lot of things that may, in a vacuum, seem like they are very critical of Hades 2, and that is because this second go-round, we already knew what happened the first time. We're looking at what is different this time round, and the key thing that we want the game to have improved upon is this right here, the plot progression, the consistency with these conversations and all that. And for all the other stuff, the gameplay, the more optional conversations with the characters and what have you, all that stuff, the music, the art style, of course, all that stuff is great. But we're being especially nitpicky because that is the thing that has been changed and because it's the thing that was most in need of improvement. So that is why, although it might seem like I'm just being extremely critical and, really down on Hades 2, that is just the thing to have in the back of your mind. That's the angle from which I'm approaching all this stuff.
Is that?
And I guess another way to think of it would be when there are issues that either are new, that are added, or things that I feel like should have been addressed when they redid the ending that did not go addressed, and I express my disappointment with that. I think that is the key word I would use. Disappointed. It's more like oh no, I'm just disappointed in you, rather than oh, this game is horrible. I mean, obviously, I've played many games before that have had, in some cases, great stories from beginning, middle to end, others that have just been uninspired throughout, and others that have seemingly been fantastic, only to then completely botch the ending. Yes, Mass Effect, I'm looking at you. So bear that in mind as well. I am unfortunately very familiar with my favorite, or what is at least tied for my favorite game ever, has absolutely unbelievable story until the final scene of the entire game, where it is arguably the worst ending in all of gaming because of how much it botches that. I personally may not quite go to that extent with my criticism of it, but other people certainly do. So I just don't want Hades 2 to have those same sorts of mistakes. And it definitely isn't to that extent, but it does at least, I'm wary of that kind of mistake and those types of issues for that reason, because I'm so big on Mass Effect.
Good news, sister. It took some doing, but I managed to persuade our father to let me hang on to his favorite spear a while.
Okay, so yeah, last time I think we had what was largely, if not entirely, an unchanged conversation with Zagreus about acquiring the spear.
You did. That's great. But where is it? I found no trace of any such weapon when I passed through here.
I have it secure, except I felt a little hesitant about handing it over, or however you need to get hold of it across this astral psychic, whatever you call it.
Zagreus, I need that spear. We need that spear. What misgivings could you possibly be having now?
Did we have this before? I feel like we didn't have this conversation, because it again felt like a bit of a jump when we talked to Zagreus about, okay, this is the weapon that we need to get. Can you please get it for us? And we gave a rushed explanation as to how that would happen, and then next time Zagreus apparently just perfectly understood and we immediately got the spear, if I remember correctly. So it felt sudden. It felt like Zagreus probably would have had more questions or doubts, and so this feels more believable for Zagreus to be hesitating here. If in fact maybe this was here from the onset and I just don't remember it, in which case, okay, credit to Supergiant. The original true ending was better than I was giving it credit for, at least to a certain extent.
Melinoe, you're asking me to permanently slay a member of our family whom I've never even met. I know it's important, but that doesn't mean I want to go through with it. I don't even know if I can.
And this if this is new, again, I wish I remembered if we've heard this before, but this feels a little more unfamiliar. The other thing was that going to what happens in the original true ending on that final run feels like it comes absolutely out of nowhere. So if that is still going to happen in the new true ending, which of course at least I, do not yet know, but if it does, then it would be really, really beneficial to plant some seeds to suggest that Zagreus is having these sorts of thoughts. Hey, I really am not comfortable with permanently killing a member of my family and someone who is supposed to be immortal being permanently deleted from existence altogether. So if he expresses those thoughts here and now, it feels less surprising, feels more believable, and we can more easily support Zagreus' decision if in fact he does still choose to do that in the new true ending, because otherwise it feels like, hey, Melinoe's been pushing extremely hard for this whole, we have to defeat Kronos, we have to permanently kill him, and that is the only option. And for that to then not happen in the original true ending felt like a bit of a slap in the face to the player. So at least if Kronos does still do his 180 and Zagreus basically just does in fact not follow through with the plan, which is what happened in the new true ending, or in the original true ending, then at least we would feel better about it with this here. Now that we've had a little bit more of a hint of it.
Of course you can. What do you mean you don't want to go through with it? We're the children of the Underworld King and Queen. We do what is required of us, not merely what we desire.
And this, right here, this is definitely new, I think. I would like to believe I would remember this. But this is really interesting. Because, take this statement in a vacuum. Well, take this statement in a vacuum plus the context that Melinoe is talking about, yeah, permanently killing someone who would usually be completely unkillable because he's immortal. That's really freaking harsh. Like, this is cruel, dictator level, like, supervillain type reaction from Melinoe. So this is where Zagreus has a pretty reasonable position. Melinoe is coming in with a pretty extreme take, and if we're comparing Melinoe relative to Kronos, you could make the argument, hey, Kronos is maybe not so, like, why are we fighting Kronos in the first place? We have a disagreement, he doesn't like his family, he wants some revenge, okay, well, he's fighting us, yes, he's not trying to permanently kill anyone, whereas Melinoe is, so who's right, who's wrong here? It's not as black and white. I'm not necessarily sure that the game is doing that deliberately. I mean, if they are, I feel like they could be, well, are we basically trying to make Melinoe come across as being a more, I mean, she comes across as evil here, is basically what I'm saying. So, is that deliberate so that we are more likely to side with Zagreus, so that if in fact he does still choose not to kill Kronos in the new true ending, then we support his decision, and despite us technically not having completed our original objective, we still feel okay about it? Because if that is the intention, then yes, that is clever in a way. I'm just not necessarily sure they've taken the necessary steps to make that as smooth as it would ideally be.
You sound just like Father. There was a time I never could communicate with him either, and I sorely wish that he was dead and gone. I'm glad I never had the capability. I might have used it then.
That sounds vaguely familiar, though.
I sound just like father. Good. Yet there you go, comparing him to Kronos once again. Just because they're related doesn't make them anything alike. Nor is this situation remotely similar to the one you were in.
You know, you're talking about murder.
Oh, I don't know. My situation also involved family members desperately trying to kill each other.
But every other situation, it's family members trying to kill each other, knowing that eventually they're going to regenerate, heal, whatever you want to call it, when, you know, because they're immortal, they come back. But Malinui is not doing that. She's going way, way further than that. So these are not an apples... This is not an apples-to-apples comparison.
We're trying to prevent that. Lost. We'll discuss this more another night. I can't force you to cooperate with me, but I can haunt your dreams.
Okay. Definitely new. We absolutely have not seen this before. And at this point, I feel like... I guess the reason why I was saying, well, maybe this was not as smooth of execution as I would ideally like it to be, with the whole making Malinui start to seem evil to the point where we may no longer agree with what her ultimate goal is and instead support Zagreus. It felt at first as though they were sort of unintentionally making Malinui come across as evil. At this point, it looks like it's deliberate, yes. She's talking about haunting his dreams. She's trying to forcibly make him comply with her plan, even when he is having very reasonable concerns about it. It's just that I feel like if this is the direction that the developers choose to go in, and it seems like that is going to end up being the case, they should have made it a little bit clearer from the onset that, well, I feel like the whole Malinui sort of starting to veer into evil territory in the early stages, they could have executed a little bit better. This works, yes, but I think that, again, it's sort of the early parts and building up into this more naturally that they could have done a little bit better. Because this is straight up evil at this point.
Well, it's a good thing I'm susceptible to threats. This was a lovely chat. See you some other nap time, then.
Count on it. And mark you my words, we're going to fix this situation. We're not going to let our family fall apart.
I do really like the voice actress for Malinui. I think she executed these lines really well, because this is different than we've ever seen. This conversation is very different from anything we've seen from Malinui before. Way harsher, violent, evil, all those words we were talking about before. And that is being reflected in the way the lines are voiced, which is really good.
I'd settle for the latter bit.
So it works from that standpoint. The delivery was great. It was more so just the...
We shouldn't be fighting.
Yeah, you're fighting a lot. So, overall, big picture, I do like that idea of making Malinui start to seem a little bit evil, because that's kind of what I was getting at before. If you look at it objectively, what she is trying to do is kind of inherently evil, arguably even more so than what Kronos is doing. So we should have some second thoughts about whether it is justified to go to the crazy means that she is saying she wants to go to defeat Kronos. And then, you know, therefore, siding with Zagreus makes more sense. It's just the execution on this specific part, perfectly fine, but great in some cases, but earlier on, the way that we sort of start leading into this, I think could have been a little bit better. Now, obviously, I didn't know that they were gonna end up going all in on this before. At first, it seemed like it was just kind of an accident and maybe some somewhat sloppy writing, because again, we've seen an unfortunate amount of that to a certain extent earlier on. But, 2020 hindsight, if I knew that they were gonna embrace this part going forward, I'd be curious to see those conversations again.
I understand where Zagreus is coming from, but he hasn't had to go through any of this.
Oh, I don't know. That also, the way you're justifying it. I mean, again, that's good for consistency.
As fate would have it.
We are kind of turning into the supervillain. Honestly, yeah. Well, so there was a big twist in the original true ending, of course, and that was that, I mean, I've already alluded to before, so don't think I need to give a spoiler warning at this point, but Kronos lives, and he doesn't get killed, he becomes a good guy, and it felt like a twist just for the sake, a huge twist just for the sake of there being a huge twist, but it didn't really land. And if instead of that, the huge twist at the end is, oh, Malinois is actually the bad guy, I would probably rather have that. The thing is that those are not necessarily mutually exclusive. So, you know, Malinois is technically the bad guy, and also Zagreus chooses to save Kronos because Malinois is trying to go too far as the bad guy. Maybe it's you know, all the above. So I'm curious to see. It's starting to come together more. What's going to happen with a new true ending? I'm intrigued.
Whoa. You startled me there, Trouble. Sneaking up on me like that, I almost blasted you. You gotta be more careful.
I don't appreciate you brandishing that thing about. Weapons remain prohibited outside the training grounds, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, you know, I never really thought of that she is just casually walking around with a gun in here.
Weapons? Hello, this is the adamant rail you're talking about. This baby once took Titans down. It's a work of art, and no one's taking it from me.
Say, wouldn't mind pointing that toward Kronos, would you? But then it makes us question, even as a player, like, hey, have we been in the wrong all along trying to defeat Kronos? And I mean, that's fair to a certain extent. I mean, that is difficult to do. Of course, there are games that do that type of big twist at the end. Hey, the main character is actually a villain. When you can execute it, it can be incredible. But I mean, it's kind of like the big twist with the bad guy actually being a good guy, which is, as we were just saying, what was originally the case. It's easy to mess it up. And any little mistake along the way probably is going to amount to it being bad, because the margin for error is so small, which is maybe why a lot of games just don't even try it, or those that do are, you know, games that are probably not as high-profile games, ones that are just sort of wildly, overly optimistic, you know, inexperienced developers who are overly optimistic about their ability to execute such a difficult thing, and sometimes miracles happen and it works, but generally not.
You ever going to tell me how you got your hands on it to begin with? It was intended to be in my father's care, yet somehow it's in yours.
Turns out he wasn't so good at protecting his own.
Alright. Well, we have, actually been trying to progress our relationship with her. So, our previous conversations were actually quite pleasant. But that one was quite unpleasant. More so the norm in that case. But maybe we try to make amends by taking a trip over to the fishing pier. Oh, if we... wait. Huh? Usually it just wouldn't let us gift at all if we didn't have the resource in question. So I'm surprised it even lets me go to this page, and I don't know what's going to happen if I try doing any of these. Let's see what happens.
You know I can't accept this now. Not after everything that's happened between us. Let's just move on with our lives.
Huh? And what exactly happened between us, would you say, if you had to summarize? You're just mocking me as usual, aren't you?
Just have a good life.
What the heck? What was that? She was holding back tears. It's like straight out of a movie.
Good evening, Shades.
Now I am curious to see, can we still even get one of those? Hold on. So these guys... oh, it's ever so close to being enough for Nightmare, but not quite. If we get one of these, will you even let us go to the fishing pier with Eris anymore, or has that ship sailed? No, we can't! Wow. Okay, I wonder if we had not tried to gift a nectar or an ambrosia, and we had just gone straight into using one of the the fishing pier, fishing lure resources if that would have worked. And it was only because we used the nectar that we got rejected. What's going on here?
Also, I wanted to give thanks to you, madam, for taking me in and letting me return, and for entrusting anything to me. Most shades are not so fortunate.
Oh, do not grovel, Icarus, lest I cast you out. This is the crossroads, not Elysium. A shade's existence here may be comparatively difficult, and few remain for long.
I appreciate having the work to do and being a part of this. Although sometimes just after taking off, I fear I won't be able to find my way back.
Discard that fear. Those with the need, or who remain in our good graces, always shall be welcome here and safe.
I'm grateful. And I'll be going. Cheers, Adam.
All right. So theoretically, we are getting quite close. Wow. Wait. We already... Oh, no, we had... Oh, okay, I was getting that mixed up. I thought we had 7 and only needed 6. I was like, why can't we do this right now? No. Okay. We are close, but not that close. No Odysseus.
Well, well.
Nothing that Nemesis wants to talk about. At least nothing critically important.
You're ready.
Have all this stuff. Oh, I guess we theoretically would have wanted to planted this stuff before spending time with Eris anyway. Oh, I so often forget to do that.
You'll flourish here.
Okay. That may just about be it. Oh, that I did not mean to admire it. It is growing. I meant to salute you.
Moonlight guide us.
We've got shades from all over the place turning up here lately. Cause of death? Snake bite. Yeah, I don't know that there's much else for us to do here. That means another... Oh, let's just...
concludes a little orientation. Any questions? Shoot.
See if you have anything to say, but no. So yeah, that means another successful run going down, and I'm definitely sure that was a new conversation, or at least large portions of that conversation with Zagreus were new, and seemingly the game going in a very different direction with the character development for Malinui, and potentially, of course, the true ending final component itself. So very interested to see how that all plays out, but do need to wrap things up here, so thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.